I'm LaGuardia from Firematic Supply. I'm here to introduce you today to a new style of nozzle for firefighting. Get a group of engine company guys together any place in this country and immediately they'll start talking about water delivery. Water delivery comes down to three basic forms of nozzles. Smooth-bore nozzle, straight tips. It's been around since Ben Franklin formed the first fire company in the United States. Still around today, still around engines. Why? Because it works. Great reach, not much cooling effect, but it's effective. The next step up from that, we moved into fixed gallonage nozzles. How that came to be is more heat absorption, get more water out there, get more droplets into the fire room, closer to the seat of the fire. Downside to this, we sacrifice reach. Still around, but we don't see too many of these in the fire service anymore. That nozzle morphed into what's predominant today is the automatic nozzle. Gives us a good padding, gives us a lot of water out there, good reach, but can trick the operator because it's automatic. You rely heavily on your MPO to do the thinking for the nozzle man. Nozzle man could be throttling back on the nozzle, on the bail, still be getting a flow, he's still throwing his stream. However, his GPMs has dropped dramatically, and that's when the nozzle man gets into trouble. Also, he cannot go into a defensive mode if need be. Take these three styles, put them together, and we have the Vindicator nozzle. Vindicator is a radical change from anything you've seen out there or have used to this point, and although it's not a new nozzle, it hasn't gotten much play in the fire service. Every once in a while you'll see an article come up on it because some forward-thinking departments have tested it, done field evaluations, and realized that this nozzle could fit quite a few of their needs. What makes this different than the average nozzle is the type of delivery. All nozzles depend on turbulent flow through the bail. The Vindicator uses laminar flow, and by laminar flow, if you look at the back of the nozzle tube, you'll notice there's holes. There's 6 holes, and what that does, it actually draws in atmospheric air, forms a tube around the water column as you're making your delivery. What this does is 2 things. It acts as a stream shaper, compresses that water stream, puts it out to the footprint of the fire, right at the seat of the fire where you want that water. Also, what it does is it's taking the water droplets and it's increasing the size dramatically over a fixed gallonage or an automatic. That translates to quicker heat absorption. Moving parts on the Vindicator just don't exist, which ties into maintenance. If you look on the inside of the Vindicator, there's a small piece in there that looks like a Dremel point. What that does, that floats back and forth about a quarter of an inch. As the water is coming in from the bail, it hits this cone-shaped piece, and that maintains an 18-degree angle around the cone, punches it out the front. That forms our stream and compresses it. What this affords us to do is to give us reach, same as your smoothbore. But by keeping that compressed and drawing in that air through those holes, it's adding to the size of your water droplets. And that's what effectively helps us reduce the temperature inside the fire room. The bail itself, we've done some testing with, and this is not a knock on any manufacturer out there, that's not what this is about, but we have found that the bail, the way it's designed, will give us higher GPMs than another manufacturer's bail when we use with the Vindicator nozzle tip. It has to do with the design, it has to do with it's a true 1 3/4 waterway, straight through, no restrictions, no cuts on the ball. Make the 2 of them together, and you have a pretty well balanced nozzle. You start talking to the guys in the field and you ask them, what do you want to see in a nozzle? They mention, it's got to be small, no maintenance at all, I want more water, I want less back pressure. And that key is the back pressure. The holes on the Vindicator, aside from doing the other functions, translate to reducing the back pressure. From doing field tests with guys using flow meters and gauges, we asked them, what pressure do you think you have at your nozzle? Should be optimally is 50 psi at the nozzle. They usually tell you, yeah, it's around 50. When we put a flow meter on it and a gauge, we find they're usually operating about 37 psi, which means they're not getting full flow out of that nozzle. NFPA says a smooth bore with a 15/16 should be giving us around 184 GPM with 50 psi at the nozzle. But what we don't take into account, and what we do at Firematic when we do flow testing, is the friction loss in the plumbing on the rig, friction loss in the hose. So your NPO may be looking at his gauge, and he may see a certain value, and he's doing the math in his head, and he says, all right, I'm going to give him 50 up with the knob, but he's not taking into consideration he could have 20, 30, 40 psi loss in the plumbing on the truck. He could have another 20 to 30 loss on the hose. That's why we have to get muscle memory instilled into the guys when they use the nozzles. When we do training on the Vindicators, we train them with that gauge behind that knob so they can feel what 50 psi is. They get that muscle memory, and then they understand when they flow that water, they'll get up to that 50 psi, and now they can put out 250, maybe more gallons per minute, as opposed to 180, 190 with a smooth bore. With the other benefits of cooling down the room and putting the water where they want it, right on the seat of the fire. The Vindicator comes in a number of different styles to suit your individual needs. There's a small nozzle called the light attack, which is good for a trash line, auto line, dumpster fires, anything outside. We have the heavy attack, which is probably going to be your bread and butter, meat and potatoes style of nozzle that you're going to use for handline attacks on 1.5 and 1.75 inches. We have the blitz attack, which is suited for 2-inch and 2.5-inch attacks. The tubes are the same. It's how the little plumb bob inside, that little Dremel point, is calibrated to the flow of the water coming through the bail. For master stream operations, there is a large Vindicator. It'll go right into your deck pipe, 1,000 gallons at 85 psi. If you can get the water into the rig, this will deliver 1,000 gallons at least. Big advantage with the Vindicator, and what sets it apart from the automatics, is that it can go defensively just by transmitting information back to your MPO. If it starts rolling down the hall, you don't have enough water for whatever the reason is, you can let them know it back at the pump panel, increase the pressure, and you can overflow the nozzle. You cannot do that with an automatic. An automatic is supposed to set at about 100 psi. We find the range can go as high as 125 before it automatically pops open. The problem with an automatic is you won't know whether you're flowing the right gallonage or not, because the flow is going to look the same. With a Vindicator, you'll know, because when it's flowing up the right gallonage, you'll have a nice, tight slug of water coming out of that nozzle. If you have to go defensive, have them increase engine pressure, your gallonage will come up, you can go defensive, and you can leave the area. And that's with any of the three nozzles, the light attack, the heavy attack, or the blitz attack. The Vindicator will handle quite a few jobs for you. It's going to give you the reach that your smooth bore has been giving you for many years. It'll give you the heat absorption that your fixed gallonage and your adjustables have been giving you. It's going to put into one package for you. It's easy to deploy. Training is at a minimum. Maintenance is totally non-existent. Guarantee from the manufacturer on the bail and on the tube is 10 years. Thank you very much.